From the new recording lair located deep beneath the Wine and Spirit store in Ephrata, Pennsylvania.
You're listening to the Masonic Light Podcast.
Studio 665 presents Masonic Light Podcast. This show is recorded by Masons, for Masons, and is for entertainment purposes only. And please, no wagering.
This podcast is not endorsed by any Grand Lodge, and the ridiculous ramblings of the hosts are their own. And now, here's your host.
Hey, everybody. It is the Masonic Light Podcast.
Oh, no.
And this is episode number 169.
No, that's wrong.
It is true.
No, that's the metric system.
169. Hard to believe.
It is.
Wow. Tonight's episode is brought to you by our sponsors, George J. Grove and Son, Hiram Solomon Cigars, Scott Helm Electric, and Intermezzo by Stephanie.
I know her.
Yeah. She doing anything for spring?
She's getting her Easter stuff out.
Cool.
She's doing, I think we're about out of time for the groundhogs.
The groundhogs, okay.
Yeah, but Valentine's coming out, Easter, all that kind of stuff.
Cool.
Go on the website, intermezzobystephanie.com.
There you go. Most importantly, we want to thank our Patreon supporters.
Yes, we do.
And last show we had 2 new sponsors, and this week we have 1 new one.
Get
at
out.
the $13 level.
Get out.
Yes.
We should have like fanfare music or something to play for those people.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank
We
you.
greatly appreciate it.
Whoever you are, I don't know because Tim keeps these things secret, but thank you.
We need to do another update and mention names.
Something.
You too can be a Patreon supporter.
How can we do that, Tim?
We can do that for as little as $1 a month.
$1?
Just $1.
A buck.
A buck. So much you'll forget about it and never cancel it, right?
That is the plan.
Go to patreon.com/Masonic Light Podcast.
And give us
Enjoy the fun. But we really do greatly appreciate it.
We do.
You can also email us at masoniclightpodcast@gmail.com.
Yes, you can.
We are on X and Threads at Masonic Light.
We're not really on X.
Well,
but that's a different story.
Yeah.
That's a different. Yeah.
Right. That's a different thing.
But we're on X.
Yeah, we check the app occasionally.
Capital X.
Yeah.
All right.
You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And our website
Josh
is
got that
masoniclight.com. And then we found out that our phone number that has been given out throughout time immemorial is actually a Masonic Light number on Google.
And it works.
And during a break, I'll look it up and we'll announce it. But it's something Mason.
315. 315.
Maybe.
Right?
Well,
Yeah,
let's give it correctly.
Anyway,
so
yeah, we'll make it up
We'll
as
come
we
back
go
to
along.
that. All right. In studio tonight, we have myself, Tim. We have Jack, and we have Josh. Larry is off tonight, tending to his wife's recovery. And I think we have sound effects. Yeah, there's Larry. Okay. And our special guest tonight is illustrious brother, the Honorable Representative Thomas L. Mehaffie III.
That's a lot of letters.
33rd degree.
Whoa.
That is a long title.
It's a lot of letters.
It is. That it is. And you know what? Tom is fine.
That's cool.
Just
All right.
TOM.
That's a long title. We'll get into that in a little bit, what all that means and everything. But first of all, as is our usual path, let's talk about what we've been doing Masonically recently. Jack, why don't you start us?
Wacha. I had a great Masonic event. A bunch of us from Ephrata Lodge rented a van and drove to Cockeysville, Maryland,
Oh, yes.
to visit our friends at Amicable St. John's Lodge for their installation of their new worshipful master, Rob Satterfield, which was conducted in whole by the Grand Line of the state of Maryland.
Oh, neat.
Grand Master did almost all of it from memory. All of the oaths and obligations and stuff, and it was just absolutely awesome. We had 9 guys go from Ephrata down there to Amicable, and I'm very proud of the guys for keeping up that that relationship. It's really cool. So
Very cool.
That was wonderful, and thank you for having us. And Rob, you're going to do a great job. We look forward to keeping that relationship going.
That's neat. Brother Tom, how about you?
It's been interesting. Last couple of months have been pretty busy politically, but I found time to go up to the Valley, Harrisburg, Big Lodge.
The big Valley.
The Big Valley,
Yep.
Big Lodge. So we got to see the new district deputy Grand Master sworn in, Steve. And, that's quite an honor. He comes from my lodge, Prince Edwin, Spring Creek, 486. So that was great. Snowy day. Good turnout, though.
Yeah.
It was great. So we got to see that. And then the other thing was I got to drop off the flags up at the Valley. Yeah. And I don't know if you guys remember the traveling gavel. Mm-hmm. You remember that? Mm-hmm. Well, our Grand Master, Larry Durr, is going to have the traveling flag for the 250th anniversary. So they're going to have that. So what we did was we flew 3 flags on Veterans Day over the Capitol, a United States flag, a Pennsylvania flag, and a POW flag. So that's what I was...
Nice.
My Masonic,
That's pretty good given all your other
Keeping
items.
a toe in it. There you go.
That's good.
Yeah, excellent.
If you love masonry, you got to do it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Got to live it. Josh.
Well, I worked on the last episode.
And you did a hell of a job.
Excellent job with our friends from Bobblehead George.
Yep. And that's about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been a little busy.
Tim has cheat sheets.
A lot
He's got a whole
of,
thing going on.
you mentioned the presentation of your district deputy. I actually got to go to 3 of those.
Oh, lucky you.
Yeah, boy. Woohoo! No, actually 2 of the district deputies, and then the presentation of Bud Baker as the Right Worshipful Junior Grand Warden in his home lodge, which is a teeny tiny little lodge up in Middleburg.
The presentation, is that like when they bring the haggis out?
Yeah,
Is there
exactly.
like a fan?
It's kind of
thing?
the same
Okay.
thing.
All right.
And so he rightfully projected that there would be more people want to come in than could fit in that lodge room. And so we did a closed circuit feed over to their social hall.
Nice.
It was a good turnout. And then I was at District 2 and I was at another district. And yeah, I've gotten to see a few of those.
Tim's kind of a big deal.
Not really. Not really. I just show up,
That's what Cal Ripken said.
Well, you know what they call that in politics, Tim? That's a backbencher.
That's it. There you
That's
go.
what they call it.
That's it. Lucius Securitas AMD Council had our meeting last week in the midst of the second snowstorm. And we had a good turnout, some great food, great fellowship. And it was our ladies' night event, so we didn't have a presentation of a program that night or a paper that night, but we did have a great time. And then the next day, First Capital York Wright College met, and was pleased to be a part of that group. Been doing some secretary training, and then here tonight. So that's been it for the last couple of weeks.
This is clearly the high point.
This is
of all
definitely
of
and always the
We
high
know
point
this to be
of
true.
my time. All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back.
Wait.
Oh, hang on, Larry.
Larry, what have you been
What
up
have you
to?
been doing masonically? Okay. Thank you, Larry. All right. Now we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with our guest, Representative Tom Mehaffie.
Why choose George J. Grove & Sons for your next home improvement project? At George J. Grove & Sons, we've built our reputation on quality and trust for more than 50 years. From planning to materials to installation, George J. Grove promises a home improvement experience second to none. Whether your goal is reducing energy costs, decreasing maintenance, updating curb appeal, or simply increasing the value of your home, the George J. Grove team will recommend and provide solutions that stand the test of time. Call 717-393-0859 for an estimate or visit us at georgejgrove.com.
And we're back.
We are?
We are.
Says you.
Our guest tonight is the illustrious brother, the Honorable Thomas L. Mehaffie III.
You still have to
33rd
read
degree.
that. It's hard.
Yeah, it is.
I know. It's
Have to
very
pause.
complicated.
So, in addition to being a 33rd degree Mason, Brother Tom has served since, I believe, 2017 as a representative in the Pennsylvania House of Representatives, representing voters in District 106, which is part of Dauphin County. And I did a little research, and I found out that includes the town of Middletown, but not the airport.
Correct.
It includes Hummelstown, which has a cigar lodge. The town of Hershey, the town of Grantville, and part of State Game Lands 211. Which means your area includes a hunting area, a casino, an amusement park, a chocolate factory, a few wineries, a distillery, a cigar lounge, and a nuclear power plant.
Damn, you're my hero.
Now that sounds like a great place to live.
Wow.
The sweetest place on earth.
That's great. So, Brother Tom, tell us a little more about yourself and all the things that are involved with all those titles we read.
Oh my,
and,
there's a lot of thirds in there.
Yeah, a
you know?
lot of threes.
Well, the threes were
You were destined for Freemasonry.
I was named after my grandfather, so
Okay.
And then my father was junior, of course, and I was the third. So that gets that right out of the way.
right.
I was I got my 33rd degree back in that was over in Cleveland. So what was that, 2021?
That would have been 21.
21. Other than marrying my wife, it's probably one of the most exciting times of my life that I was honored in that way, and that truly is. It was a great town. Not just because I got my 33rd there, but I got to tell you, Louisville was pretty cool.
Louisville was neat,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
Louisville was good. A little too much bourbon, but we could.
No such thing.
Yeah,
No such thing.
Not that we drank any. It's
No.
just we just
Drive by.
We looked at
Just drive by and
all
wave.
visuals,
That's-
all visuals,
Yeah,
and
we
it
looked
was
at
a good time. But great town, great people, and a lot of good Masons became 33rds that day, and I was proud to be part of it. Now, for me, on that side of it, I got to watch it this time, right? So the first time is like, wow, you're getting yours, and I was actually on stage. Grandmaster Tom Sturgeon gave me my ring. It was
neat.
it was just great. And this time I got to cheer on our friends. So it was just a great opportunity for me to just be there for them because they were there for me, and that's just one of the great things. So
Cool.
When you go back into this and you look at Masonry in all, for me, I came in a one-day class back in 2000.
You and I came in on the same class. Yeah.
2004?
Yeah. Yep.
Is that right?
Yep.
And there was a lot of pushback, right? Mm-hmm. Every Grandmaster is different. They all have their own agendas as far as what they're going to bring up and how they're going to change Masonry for the better. And for me, it worked out. I'm a business guy. I own Bresky Beverage for 30 years now. I started in 1993, so 2023 was my 30th anniversary. So that's a pretty exciting time for me. Now I'm the old man. I used to be the young guy at 22. Now I'm the old man.
I feel you, bro.
At 52, right? But I probably would have never had I wouldn't have taken the opportunity to go through the 3 degrees. Now, what happened to me was, though, I did get active in Lodge, and I went to a lot of the extra meetings. And for me, that was a great thing.
It makes a huge difference.
It did.
You
It
have
did.
to see it.
Yeah, and I got active right away, and that really was a good thing for me. I did some guiding, and I did most of the chairs. But I didn't further on because my political career took over. Mm-hmm. And I got involved in local politics, became a township commissioner in 2010 in Lower Swatara Township. Was there?
You could be the Harry Truman of Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Come on now.
I could be.
We're working on that.
Yeah, well, we gotta do a lot of that.
We're working on it. We won't tell them what my nickname for you is.
Hey, I know the Franklin medals out there, but I don't think there's any Mehaffie medals in the future. And what a great honor, our past Grandmaster Jeff just got, and Wonderling, and I'm happy for him. With the installation here, it's just a month ago.
Yeah,
right?
just a month ago. Yeah.
But so much has happened. You just look at it and you're like, holy cats, it's only been a month. But anyway, we go down this road of politics and public service, and you start talking about, at the local level. And I got to tell you, it was great. You get a lot done. I had 5 board members, myself included, of course. And we got a lot done in the township, and I thought we got a lot of good things done. There's things that we turned around, and it just happened, and it did well. And then the opportunity came in. Our fellow brother, 33rd degree, John Payne, retired, and it opened up for me to run in 2016. Ran, I won, and here I am. Now I'm up for re-election in my 5th term.
Wow!
So it's crazy.
Very
Cool.
Yeah.
This is my 8th year, and I always say it's like dog years. It's like but it's like 80 years being there because man, you get beat up.
And it's
politics,
it's constantly changing. It's constantly a moving target.
Oh my, is it ever? And you try to do everything. At least I do, because I don't need the job, right? A lot of people are there, and I'm not throwing anybody else under the bus. I have a career. I did really well for myself. My wife's a successful real estate agent, and we're very happy, and we love to share what we have with our friends and family and everybody else. But at the time, politics just becomes like a tough. It's really tough.
It's brutal.
Now, let me make this clear. My wife ran then right after I did for school board. Okay, so we were gluttoned. I mean, and somebody even called us in the paper the Clintons of Lower Scottsdale. So we were, we didn't quite like that handle. But anyway, she just got off the school board. She spent actually 9 years there, 8 years in the terms, and then she was put on a year early because she won right away and there was a vacancy. But she did some great things too, and I'll tell you, I'm really, really proud of her because she's done some awesome when it comes down to working with the kids and just really focused on what needed to be done at that school district and help drive that mission along with our other school colleagues, school board colleagues. But at the end of the day, she stands with me, not behind me, and it's hard on your loved ones when you're in this position.
I don't think there is a more thankless job than school board.
Oh, right? Well. Yeah, state representative, but
no, I'm giving it to her. I'm on her side.
You should,
yeah,
and
absolutely.
That is true because it's hard to win, right?
So tough.
But I thought they did, and they just started to do some really great things, and I was there a lot because I live in the district. Of course, when I was a township commissioner, I still live there, but I was a little bit more involved with the school district. They built a new high school, now they're building a new elementary school, and they're doing a lot of things. Title IX, the women's sports, girls' sports, did a lot with that, trying to get things up to the criteria where they need to be met. So, that's where it is. Now she's helping me, in my 5th term, and she's always been right there with me doing what I need to do to get reelected and helps me out. And her thing is always, and she always says this, she says, look, I'm with you as long as you're doing the right thing. And that's always sticks in my head.
That's a high bar. Okay.
Yeah.
Good for her.
Yeah, so she
like
does.
this woman.
Yeah, her name's Linda, and she does a great job
Good
of
for you, Linda.
Keeping me grounded.
Good.
Right?
Good.
And I think the word is grounded. But, you take on this challenge and you don't make everybody happy. And I think Ronald Reagan said it best. If I'm with you 80% of the time, that doesn't make me a 20% traitor. And I think we ought to do that. The other thing is compromise. It's not a dirty word. We got to figure out how to work together. We've talked about this. I just did a speaking engagement up at Burns Lodge. And, it was a lot about Masonry. We have a Masonic caucus. So myself and Eddie Nielsen from Philadelphia are the Masonic caucus chairs. And what we did is, we're all brothers. Whether you're elected or you're not, we didn't care. So what Ed and I did is we opened it up to not only the members who are Masons, but we opened it up with everybody who's a Mason. So if you're staff or if you're outside in another agency or whatever, we want you to be with us. We want you to be our brother, and we did that. And I got a lot of thanks for that. Of course, Ed did too, and I got to thank Eddie because he's been there a couple more years than me, a couple more terms, and we worked together on trying to build a brotherhood right there in the Capitol.
And that is so important. It's one of the things that when I got to know you at the beginning, I'm like, I like this guy. I like this guy a lot. Because the partisanship that we've gotten polarized into is just toxic for all of us. And no matter what your party affiliation is, both sides have that chain around their neck.
Yeah.
And you have lived what you're talking about, and I've seen that you've lived that. And, I mean, you've taken some stands that you've had to pay for within your own party.
Yep.
And I respect that greatly. Anybody that, because it really is about listening to each other, trying to understand each other, and as you said, trying to find a way to do what everybody's elected to do, which is to govern. And live that.
And another Ronald Reagan throw-out quote was, "You can get a lot more done if it doesn't matter who gets the credit."
Right.
Right. Yeah. And that's the biggest part of that.
Yeah,
Everybody wants
and
to
that
take credit for everything. And
we do have some of that, in the General Assembly, and it's sad because we're all working for the Pennsylvanians. I mean, that's what we do, and that's what we're there for. Even though I only represent the 106th district, I still represent Pennsylvania. And, it's just like, Masonry, we're Pennsylvania Masons, right?
That's right.
When we go out and we're going to visit lodges outside this state, or sometimes inside this state, you handle yourself a little differently, right? You're a Pennsylvania Mason, so be proud of it and
represent.
Yeah, represent your lodge, represent Masonic, the Pennsylvania Masonry, the way it should be represented when you go anywhere. And, that comes down to, when I talked in Robert Burns, we were talking about what we need to do. And, I think a lot of us need to really look back, and I think our oath and obligation that we took that day, if you got to remember that. That's what I always tell my Masonic brothers, whether they're Democrat or Republican. I said, look, we took an oath and obligation. We can get upset with each other, and Masons can get upset with each other.
And you can disagree with each other.
But we're still brothers, and we need to work through it. And I think if everybody thinks that way, and we can get everybody rolling in that direction and whatever it is. And hey, listen, you can be a wife of a Mason, you can be Eastern Star. If you're, my wife knows Masonry just because what I live and what I love, and I talk about it. I'm proud of it. And she was there when I got my 33rd, and that's good stuff. So she understands how important it is and what develops, because it's so funny when you go out and you see a Mason, you got your hat on or you got your ring or whatever it may be, right? You develop this bond immediately. And that's what I think in politics we need to do. You got to understand that now we're Masons. I know you're a Mason. And now we have a brotherhood. We're brothers, and that's what we are. And I think if we would bring a lot more Masons into politics, because there were a lot more Masons back in the day.
Sure.
And as far as political, and George Washington, let's face it, first president, right? And it goes on and on and on. But I think our last president who was a Mason was Gerald Ford.
Yeah.
I really do believe that's the last one.
Bill Clinton was. Bill
Right.
Clinton was a DeMolay.
He was a DeMolay.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, but he never joined a lodge.
Nope.
Oh, maybe we can work on him. But it truly is something that I think we can work out, because it's very polarized. Compromise is a dirty word, and if you want to get anything done for anybody, you're going to have to compromise. You're going to have to give and take. I'm not saying you give up your values. That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
But there's only a couple things that really Republicans and Democrats stay in their corners with. Other than that, everything else is pretty much, a compromised. We should be able to compromise any of the other stuff, when it comes down to it. Look, our budget went long this year. It was tough. It was a long, long year. But something came good out of that, and I'm sure you want to go into that now or later. I can roll into it if you want.
Well, we were going to roll into that. Talk about specifically that very important piece of legislation known as House Bill 1300.
Yeah, and it's I really do believe it's fate, because that was my bill.
So let's inform the listeners what we're talking about.
Yeah. So the budget was passed in June. Let's go back. Let's just take a teensy-weensy. June, the general appropriations bill passed, but none of our, like the fiscal code, the code bills did not pass. So this went on and on and on. There were a lot of discussions, and compromise wasn't in the vocabulary at the time. So we came down to December, and things had to get done, right? So those bills appropriate that general appropriation bill where they need to go and who they need to go to. Now school districts were running out of money and things were starting to get a little rocky. So the press is on, right? I always say nothing happens up there unless it's Armageddon. Right. Here comes the meteor, right? And so we got this bill, and earlier in session, there was this piece of legislation put into the fiscal code, which happened to be 1300, which was my bill. And that piece of legislation was basically that all Masonic temples or affiliations to Masonry could be tax exempt. Now, this has been something not that I started. This has been going on for a long time.
This has been tried and tested
tried and true and
decades. Yeah,
exactly.
So when you say exempt, you're talking property taxes, right?
Correct. Yeah. So the property taxes, which would be your school, your local, whatever else is affiliated with that. Sometimes you have some other things, and then of course your county taxes. Mm-hmm. So your property taxes of your building can be, and language is in there now that you can go get exempt from that. So I got to tell you, Ed Nielsen, great brother, 33rd degree. Masonic caucus chair. I mean, we just held our hands. It was like Thelma and Louise, and we're going over the cliff on this one, And, it was one of those things. And one of the things Ed said, and we were in there, and it was getting tight. Like, they wanted to pull it out. And, it was just, they were saying, it's unconstitutional. It's unconstitutional. We had it ginned up last time, last budget, and it didn't go through. And they took it out. And, here we are, and we're this last day. We're like going, oh my goodness, what are we going to do? And finally, it came back, and they said, well, it's unconstitutional. And Ed goes, the Masons wrote the Constitution. And I just busted up laughing.
Oh, snap! Yes.
What a zinger! Boom!
Wow!
And you got to think back.
Mr. Speaker, I move we close debate.
Call the question.
We were. It was not on the floor, but we were on the side. But
that's brilliant.
He was so right, and God love him because he's such a great guy, and he's so passionate about Masonry. And it was like this calming of the conversation.
Wow.
And everybody went back in their corners.
The right thing was said.
Yeah, they went back in their corners, and we came back out, and a couple other things were discussed, and the next thing you know, we're passing.
And it passed overwhelmingly.
Yeah.
What was it, like 150 to 50 or something like that?
Well, that was, and it's the whole fiscal code, so there's a lot in there, right?
Yeah.
It's 200 and some pages.
It's a whole bunch of stuff.
When I sent it over there, it was like 2 pages.
Right.
Now it's 210 or whatever it was,
Yeah.
and I don't even know everything in it. That's the tough thing behind that fiscal code. There's a lot of moving parts in that piece of legislation.
We're kind of throwing jokes around about this thing, but there's a lot of lodges that are teetering in the brink of being able to pay their property taxes. This is a very important piece of legislation for a lot of lodges. And
I got to be honest. So anybody I talk to who's been around for a while, or been involved with Grand Lodge. Mm-hmm. Or has been part of this process so many times over and over again. I talked to a gentleman that we know very well, and he said today, I never thought it would get done. Mm-hmm. And he goes, it's just politics, Tom. And I said I get it, I really do. And there's things that we do that we know and that we want to do. And, you make them priorities. And, this is a priority because, we have a lot of Masons in the district, a lot of Masons across Pennsylvania. And you're right. This will save Masonry in many, many parts of the state.
Yeah.
And this gentleman also said to me, he said, you do not know how big this is.
Yeah.
Now, I don't work with day-to-day with Grand Lodge, and our Right Worshipful Grand Master, Larry Durr, is a great guy. And, he put me on at the Masonic Village, which I'm very proud of, too. I don't know if I said that earlier. But, we have, and what we do as Masons, and the people we take care of, mm-hmm. it's just incredible. I mean, these villages that we have, the village, of course, right down the street, but, the villages, when you talk about all of them, mm-hmm. Just taking care, not only Masons either.
Right.
Not just widows.
Right.
We're taking care of a lot of people.
Yeah.
And it's very costly. Healthcare and the nursing home business is extremely expensive. Mm-hmm. And we pay for that.
Especially at a level that our villages maintain. We are top tier facilities for all of that. And yeah, it is very expensive to maintain that.
So shame on me that I've only been at the one in E-Town, but I look forward to going to all of them and doing tours and seeing what's going on, because anytime you talk to anybody about whether it's Swickley or, all of them, you will always hear that they are 5-star, communities, and how they've done this, and a lot of people rely on them, rely on Masons.
So I don't know how deep you want to get into this, right? All right, so we'll go. So what does a lodge need to do proactively to get that tax relief?
Yeah, so this is this is good and bad about this. So we need 60 days from when the bill passed before it's enacted into law.
Okay.
It's signed by the governor that night. I think it was December 18th. So we're looking at the 60 days coming up in February here. Grand Lodge is formulating and coming out with basically what you need to do and how you can proceed to get this done. Now, no one's going to be tax exempt for the year of 2024, but if you get in and you do this correctly, you can. And we're right. It's perfect timing, because you're going to have to go into your assessments, county assessment boards, and ask for this.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit more than that. You're going to have to fill paperwork out. Most likely, and I really do recommend, getting an attorney, and going through the process and getting this done. But Grand Lodge is going to help us through this. They already have something formulated. There's how we're going to do it, because every lodge is different. I know how to do Dauphin County, right? So we'll be fine for Dauphin. I can help in that way in Dauphin County. But I still always recommend in these kind of situations, you want to make sure you go in there, because if you mess up and something's not done correctly, boom, you're off to another year. Now we're 2026, right? You're waiting to be exempt for. So we want to make sure there's no problems. It's funny. My Cedars called me today. And they asked me, hey, what's up with this, and what can I do? And I told them that, and I explained it to them. And here what they were going to do is they were going to turn the picnic grounds over to make it a home association, which is not tax exempt.
Right.
So we got to be careful. We got to see. Some people will, depending on how they've done it. Of course, if you rent, a little different. You don't have that. So there's going to be a lot going on, and we are going to be able to, and Grand Lodge is going to be able to help you on that, and we'll get that through and get that out to the lodges.
Good. So my understanding is that there are a number of lodges around the state of Pennsylvania that have already gone to in years previous to this legislation, they've gone into their taxing authority and gotten that tax-exempt status on their property taxes, but there's nothing that was in the code that said you had to do it. And now this will put it in where my understanding is that they have to do it. And but as you said, there's that process that you've still got to go to that taxing authority.
Process, right?
We did it several years ago in my lodge, and we were turned down because you're asked, under what authority are you asking for this exemption? And now we can say this legislation right here.
Right.
We can point to that, and then it's like,
we're just really good guys, and we want to, be exempt.
Yeah, and I think the way you all worded it, I think, is important. And while we're here to talk about the Freemasonry aspect of it, the way it's worded in there, it's you can describe it obviously better than I, but it's fraternal organizations that have been around for 100 years.
100 years, yeah.
Yeah.
So
own the property.
Yeah, the Grange is part of that. We have had other lodges. It's not a large amount. I think the Grand Master told me it was 20%.
Okay.
Of our lodges are tax exempt. Of course, Grand Lodge is tax exempt, but that's a historical piece of, to the Commonwealth. But I forget what the whole. It really hasn't been that long since they've had that tax exempt, and I don't know what they paid in Philly.
Well, I remember
because that tax bill had a
huge scene. Yeah.
It's been since the most recent big dues increase that they got that exempt status, because that was the rationale behind their last one, was that, number one, they hadn't raised Grand Lodge dues substantially in like 40 years. It's been $1 here and 50 cents there. But they were getting killed with what they were going to have to pay in property taxes on the building. And then they got the tax-exempt status, which is good.
Yeah, and what we are is we're institutions of a purely public charity. and that's stated, very clearly of 100 years, upon the effective date of this legislation. So, look, we have to help our lodges.
Yeah.
We have to go through the process of making sure they understand it, and we got to get the word out because not everybody knows. I mean, Grandmaster announced it.
Yeah.
Our past
Right Worshipful
Grandmaster, Jeff Wonderling did that, and when we were at the installation. But I don't think everybody knows.
Yeah. Well, I knew that it was pending.
Yeah.
I knew it was kind of out there.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that it had been signed into law by the governor.
Yeah.
And so that was a big announcement that day. And I mean, immediately, my trustees are calling me. The Hall Association's calling me.
What does this mean? What
the
does this
Grand
mean?
Hall
What does
that's
this
in
mean?
my lodge is calling me. And I'm like, dude. As I understand it, we just have to wait for the Grand Lodge because there's still we got to figure out what this process is going to be.
They're working through it, and I had conversations today, so it's pretty much laid out. It's not going to be a very difficult process. It's just you got to go through that exemption process,
right.
and that's what it's going to take a little bit of time, a little bit of paperwork, and then there's timely filing. So you got to make sure, and that usually happens right around. And I don't want to say every county's like this, but I know ours is June.
Yeah, it varies from taxing authority.
So, that at least I'm looking at it as Dauphin County.
Right.
But I don't want to say that for others because they might have a different way of working through that. So, but we got to wait till the bill is enacted into law. Like I said, it takes 60 days. We're coming up on that, and then immediately we can start acting on getting it out there. I know the district deputy grandmasters are surely going to be out there doing their thing, but we got to start talking to shrines. We got to talk to cedars and
people that own property.
Yeah, anybody owns property, and I'm sure they're going to do a great job getting it through. Grand Lodge usually does really good at that and disseminating that out throughout the state. So.
Very good.
It's good stuff.
Absolutely. Well, let's take a quick break. We'll hear from another of our sponsors, and we'll be back with Brother Tom Mehaffie.
Buy chocolate.
As far back as the mid-1800s, records exist describing the pre-meeting tradition of brethren smoking cigars during and after gatherings. To this day, the practice of smoking cigars remains very much alive in many lodges. This custom is considered a time for brethren to relax, exchange ideas, and enjoy the simplicity and fellowship that is the very essence of our brotherhood. This is what Hiram Solomon Cigars is all about. Our starting principles are to bring Masonic brethren together in the harmony of a good cigar. Pull up a chair, sit back, light up any of our premium cigars, and enjoy the history. Hiram Solomon Cigars can be found at fine cigar retailers. For a complete list, visit HiramSolomonCigars.com or check them out on social media to find out when they'll be at a live event near you. Hiram Solomon Cigars is pleased to be the official cigar of the Masonic Light Podcast.
And we're back with Representative Brother Illustrious 33rd.
See, it's not in front of him, so he can't remember. He can't read it. Tim is nothing without notes.
The honorable.
I'm the Ron Burgundy of the Masonic Life Podcast.
You stay classy, Ephrata.
That's it.
You stay classy.
Exactly. So before the break, we were talking about basically at this point, lodges need to basically just chill out. Wait a few weeks. Grand Lodge will be coming with some guidance, and then they can proceed forward. But
yeah, I mean, it's going to be basically you're going in to get your taxes lowered, but you're going to be exempt. So
yeah,
it should work that way. Some counties, I mean this, it's not as easy as that, but
yeah,
But there's legislation to point to and say here.
I think we all have a brother or two in our lodge that's an attorney, so I think they can work through it or know somebody.
Can we get a freaking plumber? Can we get a plumber? I've got 37 electricians in my lodge, and there's not a plumber in the building.
Right. As lodge secretary, I'm always
we
getting
need to
phone
recruit
calls
plumbers.
for-
I'm just saying.
We need to recruit plumbers in the fraternity. We do. So, as with any legislation, no law is self-enforcing, and it could be that some taxing authority says, "Nah, we're not reading it that way," and you may have to go to court to get it to happen.
Could.
because that's just the way our system works. But we feel reasonably confident that the legislation's pretty clear, right?
Yeah, I think it's pretty cut and dry. I mean, it's going to, when you look at this as, I think we did an overall scale of what it would cost, but you got to break it down. You got to break it down to municipality, county, and school district. I mean, across the whole state, I think it's like $2.6 million. And at the end of the day, you break that down to all the lodges and all the buildings that we own, temples, whatever it may be. I think it's really small, comparably speaking.
Right.
Now, I think somebody made this comment to me, and I forget who said it to me, but Masons as a whole in the nation donate $2 million a day.
A day.
A day. And I mean, what we as we do as Pennsylvania Masons, right? We have a lot of money that we put out, and a lot of it's put into our village, in the villages, a lot of it. But we do a lot. I mean, I know what our lodge does personally when we do some scholarship programs and baseball teams, and Square and Compass is out there. The Big G looks good, right? It looks good out in the outfield. Looks good in the, the basketball court, and it even looks better when it's helping a child, go to college or trade school or wherever they want to go. So I think this gives us even more opportunity to help our fellow man and go out there and show Masons are really good people.
Good point. Don't sit on it. Turn it back into the community.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Jack, during the break, you had a question that I said, whoop, stop.
Well, and it's off this topic, but it's about you personally and your Masonic whatever. But it just occurred to me to ask, have you had any pushback politically because you're a Mason? I know there's areas of the world that it's not publicly thrown around that somebody's a Mason. But have you had any pushback?
No. And I'll tell you.
Would you like to?
No.
Okay.
But that's a really good question, because you're right. Some people look at you like, oh, Masonry, you're a secret society.
Yeah.
What do you guys do? Well, go on YouTube. You'll figure it all out.
Witches and goat sacrifice and all that. Yeah.
Well, that all that kind of garbage went round and round and round. I have friends that, with the Grandmasters Initiative, what Jeff wanted, ask to be a Mason. I have a lapel that says, ask one to be one.
Right.
I think sometimes that was really confusing. My uncle was a Mason. He belonged to Benjamin B. French Lodge in D.C., in Georgetown, and now he lives back in PA, and he just joined Valley View. So
cool.
Up in Schuylkill County. So yeah, we got him back in Pennsylvania. He's a Pennsylvania Mason, but he's never going to give up his lodge, right? He was past master twice, and he was the tour guide of the what is the one museum down there? The Scottish Rite Museum, I think it is.
The House of the Temple.
House of the Temple.
The Temple. Yeah, he was a tour guide there for years.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And he's much older now, so he couldn't do it. His wheels aren't as good, but a lot of walking, a lot of things. But when he retired from the federal government, he decided that he wanted to do that. And he did a lot, and he was secretaries of many different organizations that we all belong to. So it's one of those things. So I knew Masonry, right? It was a good thing for me. In fact, he just gave me a Dudley. So, I was
good guy.
Oh, he's a good guy.
He's my favorite uncle, right?
Absolutely.
But that Masonic bond that him and I have. He was there for my 33rd. Those kind of things happen. So going back to that, I knew Masonry because of my uncle. We talked about it. I always ask him about it. I was always interested in it. I do have a brother. He's not a Mason. My father's not a Mason. I told my dad, join. He said, well, I'm 80. Who cares?
Right.
You know what I mean? One of our oldest past masters of, Prince Edwin Spring Creek Lodge, he was in his 80s.
Yeah.
he went through the chairs.
I heard about him.
Yeah,
you were telling
me.
me.
No, my master last year was 81.
Well, there you go.
Oh, yeah.
It's not no time, no time like the present. So when I say this, I actually promote it, that I'm a Mason, that I'm a Shriner, and proud of it.
Absolutely.
That I'm a tall cedar.
Good.
I think it's something that we have to talk about. And I do it for two reasons. Number one is, when you're out there in the political trail, it helps open, because I'll have people come up and say, "Hey, brother," and right away I know what's going on. You know what I mean? Oh, what lodge you belong to? And then we just start talking. So maybe it wasn't the hat or the belt buckle or the ring, but it was because I promote it, right? I promote it in my political, profile. But I think it's important because I want people to ask me about Masonry.
Right.
Oh, you're a Mason. What do you do? How'd you get in? Or it opens up that door even to talk about Masonry. And I think that's so important because I think a lot of people are scared of it, and then the other thing is, and I have a lot of
they're
friends.
misinformed.
Yeah, I have a good friend who's a younger guy. He's just 30. He's on, he's a newer member of the House of Representatives. I said, you got to get him to become a Mason. You got to join. He's in the Lycans area up in upper part of Dauphin County. I think Lycans Lodge is up there. And what is it? Millersburg is up there, I think too. Yep. Yeah. So he, and he goes, well, I'm Catholic. Well, that's okay. Yeah, you can join. Yeah. You can be a Knight of Columbus.
We don't care.
Yeah.
We don't have a problem with that.
We don't have a problem. And I said, Brother Scott Matinchek, out of our lodge in Middletown, and he's Catholic. I think it's just the times are changing, right? And I think everybody's starting to understand what Masonry really is about, and it's not just these secrets that have been kept from whoever they think they're kept from. But I think it's one of those great things that people should understand in what we do. And I ran into somebody in South Carolina the one time, and he goes, "Oh, you're a Pennsylvania Mason." So we have such great ritual here.
Yeah, we have it right.
Yeah. And, some of the listeners here are from Bulgaria.
Hey, we're a big hit there.
Yeah. And I say that because, Tim, you and I I was at Bird's Lodge, and you did the speech that night, and it was great. And you said, we have more listeners in Bulgaria.
We're the number one comedy podcast there.
Yeah.
It's like those guys got to get a life.
Yeah, well, that's okay, and it was funny because I stood up and I said, Grandmaster, I said, well, greetings from Bulgaria. But, we can have fun and we can enjoy things, but I think a lot of people understand that I need more people, I said, to understand that the amount of people we help. I mean, $2 million a day nationally from all the organizations affiliated with Masonry. That's incredible. I don't know who else does that.
Nobody.
Bill Gates, maybe, I guess. I don't know.
Maybe.
Well, yes, there's that, but yeah.
But we do so much, and so no, I don't get kickback from it. And in fact, it's more people say, "Oh, I didn't know you were a Mason."
What's that all about?
Yeah, or and I think that's some of the stuff. And the shrine is really near and dear to my heart. Just the hospitals. Probably don't spend too much time in shrine because of my political, but it's important. It's important what the children's hospitals do.
Yeah,
sure.
It's really important.
Well, and I mean, I've said this numerous times. It is the most recognized charity of all the Masonic bodies. Oh, yeah. Everybody knows about the shrine. Everybody knows about the Shriners Hospitals. And
Tall Cedars used to be a close second.
Tall Cedars when Jerry Lewis
when
had
Jerry
his
Lewis
telethon.
was doing a telethon. Tall Cedars had to play.
NBA?
Yeah. Well, I remember seeing those guys because I used to volunteer to work the telethon in my local community on the TV station. And, you'd have the guys come in wearing these, pointed hats, and you're like, what the heck is that? And it actually wasn't until I came here and became a Mason that I understood they were part of the Masonic fraternity.
That is a pyramid.
I know.
Tim,
no, it's a pointy hat.
A pointy hat. Pyramid.
It's a pyramid.
Yeah. It's a pyramid.
Oh, you're going to get letters, Tim.
I know.
Send those letters to Tim Dedman.
Masonic Light Podcast at gmail.com.
noneofyourbusiness.com.
I like that you spell it Lite.
Yeah.
Well, we are.
Is that because of beer, Miller Lite?
No, we're just
curious.
we are the
Because
lighter
we're so
side.
svelte.
Yeah, okay.
That's it. We're svelte.
That's what it is.
That's right.
You're low in carbs.
Yeah, we are.
That's it.
You know I do sell beer for a living. So. and that is Bresky Beverage, 1170 Eisenhower Boulevard, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Shameless plug.
Awesome.
Oh,
That's great. That's great. We should get you signed up as a sponsor.
We can do that.
What?
Awesome. There we go. All right.
that's
Where's
it.
Larry?
Send the invoice.
Where is Larry?
Wait, Larry.
Yeah, Larry,
Oh, wait. Larry's he's in the restroom.
He's in the
right now.
restroom, but he's coming back.
Here
Larry,
he is. He's coming now.
Larry, how are you doing? All right.
Thanks, Larry.
Well, I saw one of your past podcasts, and you had the new Right Worshipful Senior Warden in here, PJ.
PJ.
How'd that go? It was a good time.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
It was awesome. But I tell you what, it's we're having a great time with you as well. So
thank you. I appreciate that. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy this, and anytime we can promote or talk about Masonry, I think it's so important.
Well, we posted something, I guess, a couple of weeks ago on our Facebook page with all the noise going on, with all the stuff going on across the country within internal Masonic stuff. The question we asked was, do we need to something to the effect
need more Masons?
Do we need more people in Freemasonry, or do we need more people to be Freemasons? Which means, if people will live what we profess, then they'll be knocking our doors down to say, I want that.
Yeah, that was.
And what you've been talking about is that.
Right.
And I think
if you walk the walk, they will be lined up to get in.
Right.
And unfortunately, we're still working on getting more and more people to walk the walk.
One of the best compliments I ever got was from my pastor at my church, who, when he came in, found out that me and another man in my church was a Mason, didn't know anything about it. So when I got in line and got to be junior warden, I invited he and a deacon to come to my open installation. And
was that mandatory at the time?
It was not mandatory.
Oh, well, but you did it anyway.
It was optional.
Look at that.
So we did it. He walked out of that and was like, that is cool. And what he has said to me since is, anybody that ever comes to him and even asks a question about it, it's like, look at how he lives. If you find anything contrary wrong, then come back and talk to me. Because it's his affiliation with Freemasonry that exemplifies what we profess as a church here.
That's how I knew when I was thinking about joining.
Yeah.
My father was a Mason, and I looked at him and his life, and I said, if he's okay with this, there is nothing in this that I shouldn't be okay with.
Right.
And that, there's good examples.
Yeah, and I mean, we talked about the rumors earlier, right?
Sure.
In Masonry, and I think it scared a lot of people away or whatnot. We're all so busy. Everybody's like, oh, I can't do this. I can't. It's what you want to put into it. I think, as one who did some guiding, and as you guys all did, and we guide. I think what we need to do is go back to that and say, okay, let's be guides. Let's guide men to be better. And I think we can do that. I think if we take that in and try to, encapsulate that whole guiding principle, what we do when we're guiding, trying to put that into what we're doing here to bring more Masons to be Masons, right?
Yeah.
It's like, what did you say? How did you say that? It's, do we want more Masons, or
do we need more people to join Freemasonry?
Right.
Or do we need more men to be Freemasons?
We need more men to be Freemasons.
Absolutely.
And I think we should be guides.
Yes.
That's what we should be.
We all should be guides.
Yeah. And I think if we take those principles, we'll be great.
Absolutely.
And this fraternity will last a lot longer than we'll be around.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Indeed.
And it will anyway, but we want it to be strong.
Indeed. All right. Well, we're going to take another break. We've got a phone call out to Brother Walter. We're having trouble getting a hold of him at this point. I'm not sure. Have you no success? We understood he was going to stop by and visit Larry tonight, but so that may be where he is, Brother Walter. So if you hear him next,
he's on a remote. Yeah.
Oh, he's on a remote. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we get to hear from our good friend on this episode?
Dutchy Doug will make an appearance.
All right.
Boy, Doug.
Listen to Dutchy Doug. And we'll
Worshipful
be right back.
Master.
Yes,
Dutchy
Worshipful
Doug.
Master Dutchy
Worshipful Doug.
Two of us are going to be speaking at his lodge this year, aren't we?
I think I am.
I am as well.
At the same time?
No.
Who's going to speak first?
I think I'm coming up in maybe March.
I don't know. But yes, I do have State College. And
Yep.
Yep.
All right. We'll be right back.
Hello, brethren. Dutchy Duck is here to bring you an update from my lodge, the Broken Plow number 377. As you all know, it takes a while for new things to reach our rural valley. And just this week, I was able to listen to the Masonic Light Festivus episode. During the airing of grievances, our dear brother Larry Merris aired his concerns on the great pot pie debate. He even asked for my help in defending his opinion. My brother, I will now give the definitive answer for now and for all time. There are a few absolute givens in life. 1. The sun will always rise in the east. 2. The first beer after a long day's work always tastes the best. 3. Chicken pot pie is never a pie. My dear brethren, Larry's reaction and opinion is justified. We Pennsylvania Dutch have gifted the world a few culinary delights: shoe fly pie, scrapple, stuffed pig stomach, red beet eggs, sauerkraut, and chicken pot pie. True pot pie is always served in the form of a soup or stew. In our language, we call it butt boy, literally pot pie, because it's cooked in a pot. What a novel idea. A pie served with chicken, vegetables, and gravy or sauce is called a chicken pie. In our tradition, a Moravian chicken pie is a pie crust, tender roast chicken, and a thick chicken gravy all baked within the confines of a double pie crust. No pot is used. Some Dutchies do add vegetables to theirs, but again, this is a chicken pie, not a pot pie. To prove my point, I turn to William Weiss Weaver, the preeminent scholar on Pennsylvania Dutch foodways, and his excellent book, As American as Shoe Fly Pie, The Food Lore and Fake Lore of Pennsylvania Dutch Cuisine. He states, the oldest known recipe for chicken pot pie in the United States comes from 1751 and the Black Horse Hotel at Reinhold's, an old Lancaster County institution once held in high esteem for its fine local cookery. That recipe was a stew of chicken, potatoes, carrots, onions, celery, homemade egg noodles, saffron, and all cooked in a rich chicken broth. I just don't understand why this is such a difficult concept to understand. For 300 years, we Pennsylvania Dutch have been serving and enjoying this truly delicious culinary delight. Is there a more definitive comfort food? I think not. I will leave you all with this short anecdote. Our local high school gym teacher, well, he's also our health teacher too, here in our valley, Mr. Gesundheit, yes, that's really his name, often tells his health classes, quote, if you ever go to a party that has drugs or alcohol, you do a 360 and get the heck out of there. Now think about that. Mr. Gesundheit is not very good at math, but I like the idea that he hits on, so I have altered it to apply to this discussion. If you go to a restaurant or a friend's house and they serve chicken pot pie in the form of a pie, you do a 180 and get the hell out of there. Till next time, work hard, stay plumb, and out in the lights when you leave the room. To learn more about the Pennsylvania Dutch language, culture, and history, please visit my website, padutch101.com, or my YouTube channel, or Facebook, or Instagram, or Twitter. Just search for Doug Badenford or PA Dutch 101.
All right, Jack, so we're back, and we need to play a game show with our guest tonight.
It's time to play Copious Dues. Yes. Tonight, Brother Tom is going to tell us how much he fritters away in dues money for Masonic affiliations. Brother Tom.
Wait, no.
Wait, we have to guess first. That's right. I forgot how to play this game. Look at me. It's been so long.
All right, we forgot to do that.
All right. So, we have to guess how much we think Brother Tom pays in dues every year. Does your wife know how much you pay in dues?
Don't tell her.
Okay.
She's probably going to listen to this.
She's not listening.
Can't let her listen.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding.
So,
She sees it.
Josh.
$1,300.06.
Ooh, that's large.
It is very large.
A
Say that
strong
again.
guess by Josh.
$300.06.
$1,300.06. Wow. Tim. How
man.
much do you
Go
think
big or go
Tom
home.
pays in his copious dues?
So obviously, I know he's a member of a Blue Lodge. I know he's a member of the Big Valley. I know he's a member of Zembo Shrine. Tonight he talked about another
that letter organization.
a couple of letter organizations. So I'm going to say $1,000 even, Tom.
1,000 even. Okay. That's high. I think that's high. All right. Jack,
That would be you.
how much do I think Tom pays in dues every year? I think, without going over, by the way,
$1.
without going over, I say Tom pays $721 in dues every year.
All right, so we have them in.
All right.
Recap. Jack is at $721. I'm at $1,000, and Josh is at $1,300.06.
Large. The 6 cents.
Where do
That's
you
what does
get
it.
6 cents?
It's the 6 cents.
It's the rounding error.
Well, normally
Is that-
I do,
oh, wait a
I do
minute.
the
Did I-
$1.
did I
but
carry the
they
one?
Went to me first.
Okay. Yeah.
So, Brother Tom, how much do you pay every year for copious dues?
So you're close. 11:05.
Yes! Oh! Yes! Oh! Yes!
Now,
I have never won one of these.
here's I belong to all the York rights, but I'm life members in each one.
That's all right.
So I do not play.
So you don't pay
I don't pay dues. But if you would put in the York rights,
then Josh would have won. Yep.
that's the only thing. So when I joined York Red, I joined from the beginning. I did all life memberships.
See, I didn't know that.
Smart play.
I didn't know that. That was well played, though.
Yeah,
Well played.
yeah, and it was. I should have did Shrine too, but I didn't
I hate
because they had to.
game.
But you know what? Yeah, it's not a bad game though.
It's really not.
I mean, I gave one away, so you guys would have never guessed that.
because I never win.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
Well, the only reason anybody else won is because Larry's not here.
That's right.
Larry wins every time.
Larry does win every time.
He does.
Yeah.
Well, he's on the board, 3 times or whatever? Winning?
Copious dues.
Copious dues. All right.
It's worth every penny, though.
That's right.
It is. Honest to God, it's worth every penny.
I would
and
pay twice that amount.
I would.
Yep.
I would. It's. You know, I got to be honest. The fraternity is it's very inexpensive. That's Larry.
Yeah, Larry's calling in.
He is.
He's sounding better.
But it's really inexpensive to become a Mason. I always would have thought it would have been a lot more. But if you look at it in a roundabout way, it's for what you get and what it means to you, it's cheap.
Yep.
Yeah. So join.
There is an ROI.
Yeah. Hey, I got to give you one thing. Here.
Okay.
Just one thing.
Yep.
One of the greatest Masons of all time, right, was George Washington, our president. I was born on February 22nd.
Oh,
Same day
George Washington's
as
birthday.
George Washington, Master Mason.
Very cool.
So I want to leave that with everybody.
That's great.
So if anybody wants to send me,
birthday cards.
birthday cards, you can.
Yeah.
20
To all the
seconds.
Patreons.
To all of our Patreons. That's right.
Exactly. Hey, I got to tell you guys, I really enjoyed this. This was fantastic. I look forward to coming back again in the next 10 years.
Yeah. No, we've had a great discussion here, though, and I think you've made us think a lot. I mean, as you said,
I hate when that happens.
Isn't that the truth?
God, it makes my head hurt.
Yeah. Can you imagine if Larry were here?
Yeah. It's too late. I can't.
You
get the
guys are
crickets
weakening
out.
the
I'm
nation.
sorry.
I'm telling you that right now.
Lowest common denominator.
Yeah.
Nom nom.
Yeah. Exactly.
You keep thinking you're going to weaken the nation.
Yeah. So we greatly appreciate you being with us tonight. It's
This has been great.
you truly are living Freemasonry, and I think you've given us all a challenge to do that in everything that we do. If you can do it as an elected politician,
Anybody can.
anybody can do it. That's right. That's right.
Just so everybody knows, we're not setting the bar real high here. We are
All right.
definitely not setting the bar high.
No.
So let's see what we've got coming up.
What?
I'll
Jeez.
talk a little bit. You want me to go first?
Talk to someone else. Wait,
I'll go first.
Go.
All right. So
I got nothing.
when you hear this episode, if you hear it on the day it's released, you will have just missed the January meeting of Ubar Grotto.
MOVPER.
MOUSE. And so I'll be at that. On the 29th, I will be attending the trustees meeting of Eureka West Shore Lodge number 302.
Wow, we're all excited about that for you.
Well,
Tim.
we're going to try to make the audit process a little simpler this year, which we're all fans of. On the 30th, Zimbo Past Masters Club will be meeting. I'll be at that. I think I mentioned probably during a break. On the 5th of February at Eureka West Shore Lodge number 302, our stated meeting, Brother Scott Matinchek. Tom is his dad. Scott Matinchek will be there to talk about the history of the Dudley watch. And can't wait to hear from Brother Tom or Brother Scott. Good grief.
Well, I mean, he has his dad's
That's
watch.
right. He has Tom's watch.
Who are you talking about now? I'm
Right.
confused.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm so confused.
On the 13th of February, I will be the speaker at the Shippensburg Scottish Rite Club, where I'll be talking about the Masonic Light podcast.
Attaboy.
Yeah, baby.
What's that?
And then, exactly.
Finally.
And then on the 17th, Saturday the 17th of February, the Big Valley of Harrisburg will be having their Valentine's dinner. If you're in the area, it's a great way it's a couple days after Valentine's Day, but it's that Saturday. Those of you that have attended previous versions of that know how good it's been. So, and that's all I have. Jack.
Not a ton. The usual stuff. I do my Monday night mentoring with the candidates. I have Ubar Grotto coming up. I've got some other stuff having to do with other stuff. I am participating in the Grand Lodge Committee on Membership Revitalization
Stuff.
So I've got a couple of those events coming up in lodges. Just and that's a program. I mean, if you're, I don't want to get into it now. But,
Okay.
But anyway, I'm doing stuff, Masonic stuff.
So I have a question for you.
It's stuff. What?
So with the changes that have occurred, and we're not going to talk about
Specific changes.
we're not going to talk about specifics, but how will that affect, or do you know yet, will that affect your work with your candidates as they're coming through the work? Have you determined that yet?
Well, the official word is that proficiency has been removed.
For the first and second.
Candidate
For the first
proficiency.
degree.
All I saw was the words proficiency is removed. I'm
Okay.
not, and I did not go to School of Instruction at the last School of Instruction, so I may be
Okay.
a little bit out of the loop.
Okay.
So not to take it for what it is.
Yep.
And that's in my opinion not the
Say
best.
it!
All right, I'm just going to say it. I've been working for 10 years to create proficiency in new candidates in our lodge.
Yep.
And I think it's made better Masons.
Yep.
It's kept our line staffed with people who are willing to go through the line because now they believe that they can learn the work. And I think that's an important component of it. And I believe that learning the work is an important component of making Masonry a part of who you are. I think it rewires your brain. You know, you create this neural network that involves Masonry, and I think it affects who you are. And I think that's how we make good men better. And I'd like to see more of that. And I'm going to continue instructing as I've been instructing before. For me, nothing's going to change as far as that goes.
Good.
Everybody, all of the candidates that I have talked to that are coming in and going through have said, no, I want to learn that stuff.
Good.
Every one of them, to a man, because they're looking for something more. and they believe that this will help them find it, and I believe it as well. So,
Good. And what you're describing is exactly what my lodge is doing, which is it's the letter of what we see here is that it's waived for the between the 2 degrees because of necessity, but we're still going to do it before they cross over into their 3rd degree.
Right.
We're still going to continue it on after their 3rd degree.
Yeah.
We're still going to do everything that we've been doing.
I will admit that I have had difficulty in the past getting people to continue to come after they've received their 3rds, because they think they're finished just because they received their 3rd, but they still don't have the work of the 3rd.
Right.
So that.
And I think that's something that just has to build over time.
That's just a part of it.
Yeah, it's part of it.
But I do that. Once you've learned that you can learn the work, then it makes it easier to take on the role. To take.
Is that like the farther we trace it, the easier it becomes?
I'm sorry. Did you say that out loud? Yes. Yes, you did.
It's in a charge. It's written down. We can talk about it. It's written down. We can talk about it.
Anyway, that's my personal opinion, and I will serve the lodge, and I will be a dutiful Mason, and I will continue to support the Grand Lodge and the Grand Master in every way that I can.
There you go. Absolutely. Brother Tom, what have you got coming up Masonically?
Hey, big weekend. Bed Bath & Beyond. Maybe a little bit of Home Depot.
Nice. Some potpourri.
I want to know about that.
Wow.
Masonic connection.
You're really playing it safe, aren't you? Wow. Wow.
Oh, that
vanilla
was
body spray.
That's a line from Old School. So Frank the Tank, right? So yeah, this week is for me the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks actually, are extremely busy because we got to get petitions signed.
Yeah.
To get on the ballot, so I can run for my 5th term. So it is. It's going to be a challenge to get a lot of Masonic stuff done.
Yeah.
For me. So we're gonna, be pretty much taken over by my political career. Unfortunately, it won't make the Masonic duties that easy this year or the next couple of weeks. So that's one thing about politics, and sometimes your job or whatever it is, it kind of pulls you away depending on what you do or where you go. It's pretty demanding, but I'll find something. I always do. Maybe bump in the lodge or go up to the valley.
There you go.
You gotta see.
We're always up at the valley, right?
Gotta see Cookie a little bit.
That's it.
Make sure check in on him, and but I think it's even not just going to places. I speak to Bud Baker, on a regular basis, and we talk about things. And tomorrow I guess I'll be going down to I got to file some paperwork with Masonic Village. So I guess there are things I'm doing, but
okay, good.
You make it here, you make it there.
You mentioned earlier that you're going to be on the board of directors, right, for the
Correct.
Masonic Villages, and so that's important work. And so thank you for your service in that regard.
Yeah, thanks. I look forward to it. I was honored to be asked. Larry called me up, and Grandmaster called me up. Sorry, and we were talking about it, and I think it's a good move for me. I represent probably 7 or 8 nursing homes in the district. Now, that has changed. The district has changed, and I didn't even get into all that with redistricting and all that kind of crazy stuff, but it's changed a little bit, so I think I lost 1 or 2 or whatever, but I try to get in and find out what they need and where they need to go, but, the big thing with nursing homes is reimbursement, that Medicaid and Medicare reimbursement, and making sure we're getting the right amount as a state, and you have the federal funding, but getting that state match and giving that a little bit more bump needs to be done. And it just happened here in the last couple of years. We've got some extra money into there, but we got to do better. We got to help them out, do the thing. So yeah, I appreciate that.
So one question we didn't ask, but you mentioned re-election. Beyond re-election, what does the future hold for Representative illustrious 33rd brother? Emperor Tom Mehaffie.
Honorable.
Yeah, honorable. Yeah.
Oh, that's a title. Wait, what?
So, they never say never in politics, right? I tell you, I am really happy in my position where I'm at right now. Not sure how long I'll stay or whatever. The voters will make that decision one way or another, but, I'll know when it's time. I talked to John Payne and said, how'd you know? He said, you'll know. He said, politics will tell you. you're either going to go out on your own or you're going to go out on the voters' will. But I try to do and put myself in the shoes of every constituent. When you're up there making votes, it's not easy, right?
Yeah.
You try to read these bills and they come fast and furious.
But you even said you're still a business owner, right? You're still a businessman in the community, and so everything that you're doing, it affects you. So you're aware of it from a like on the street
real life
perspective,
example.
from
Yeah.
a real life, exactly, a real life example. And guys that are career politicians, I'm sorry, you have to lose touch.
Yeah.
If you're a career politician like that, and
Do you want to know what I do when I
grounded.
lose touch? When I
Yeah.
feel like I'm losing touch, I go to work.
Yeah.
There you go.
I go down to the beer distributor. I got to be honest. I work the register. I start talking to customers and,
Right.
just interacting, and it grounds you.
Mm-hmm.
It's either that or my wife, plants her foot completely into my.
They smack you upside the
Yeah.
head and say,
Yeah,
no, that's great.
She's got a good kicker, but it does, and it grounds you. But here's what I do. Around holidays. When when they're off, when my team's off, and for the holiday, I try to give them off or whatever I can do, or I come in and work. So a lot of times, like over the Christmas holiday, I was working shifts and doing what I needed to do. So even though I was off politically because the office was closed and so forth, I was working, and I do that a lot, and I try to really, reach out to as many people as I can. Talk to as many people. Emails, they're great. Quickies, text messages, they're great for quickies. But when you got to have good conversations with people, and that either is done in person or on the phone, I run a ton of minutes on my cell phone. And I do that because I want to know what's going on and I want to understand. And if somebody sends an email in and they're distraught over a situation, maybe the way I voted, maybe the way I, whatever I did or whatever, I'll call them and I'll say, you want to come in? You want me to talk? You want to talk over the phone? What do you want to do?
Right.
I'm willing, because that makes me a better representative, and it allows me to be grounded. I think that's really the base word that we've been using here tonight, and it allows me to make great decisions, and I mean great, not just good, great decisions when that comes up on the board. Am I voting yes or no on this particular bill? And some people say, oh, you vote too conservative, or you vote too liberal on this, and you'd vote this, you vote that. It's not about that. It's not a liberal move or it's not a conservative move. It really, truly is a move of what is best for the people of the 106th district. And you know what? I'm not going to make them all happy.
So just so you know, nobody from your district listens to this show.
That's all right.
So, it's okay if you want to be.
it's not true. I know of at least 2 people that listen in here.
Well, I'm hoping, brother, the illustrious
Yes.
brother Scott Matinchek,
Yes.
is listening.
Scott, maybe.
Because
Yeah.
him and his father are both, and his father now. His father was not before Tom was not, and now
Right.
he is.
Yes.
And he's in the district since that. But it is. I mean, I just talk about it because I said to my campaign manager, I said to her tonight, I said, what upsets me the most about when somebody runs against me is I can't understand why, because I give it every day, all day. And I think I do a great job at what I do. I don't do it for the money. I don't do it for the honorable, all that garbage. And hey, representative, that's okay. It's Tom, but I do it because I want to help people, and that's my retail sales. 30 years of retail sales, let's help them. And it's easy to sell beer because everybody leaves, they're happy, right? Not everybody leaves your office or off the phone is happy, but you try to work through that process and try to keep them happy. When you say to me, is there anything on the horizon? Not really. Not politically. Maybe a lot more golf when I retire from this job.
There you go.
But it is, I do that, and I spend a lot of time hunting and so forth. So that's my winter thing, and I try, but it's I'm busy. I'm busy with politics. It's a 24/7 job. It never stops. I can be walking in the grocery store, or, maybe the liquor store. I see a constituent, and they're like, "Hey, representative." I'm like, yeah, sure. What's going on? And they want to talk. You know what? That's okay. Because that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
It's all about talking.
Cool.
So that's kind of where it is. So no big moves for me right now, but you never know. You know what I mean? You never know.
Yeah, you never know.
You never know. I never say never.
There you go. So, Mehaffie for president.
No, wait, hold on a minute. We're going a little too far here.
2032.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. So, Josh.
That may be a never.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Josh, how about you?
I think I have something coming up later this week. I might try to get to Grotto.
Oh, cool.
And I think we'll have Lodge before next. Yeah, we'll have Lodge before next show. So
You will.
Try to do that if I can.
Any idea what's coming up at Lodge?
Nope.
Okay. It's nice to be out of the loop on that stuff, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, very good.
Worshipful has been.
So one item that I failed to mention, that I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, we've been asked to announce that Abington Royal Arch Chapter number 245 in Jenkintown, Pennsylvania, is having a capitular masonry symposium.
Ooh.
On Saturday, September the 7th. You got a little time to plan for that.
Cool.
Information is available. I'm sure if you do a Google search on Abington Royal Arch Chapter number 245, or you can send an email to Abington, ABINGTON 245HP, which I assume is for High Priest, at gmail.com, and let them know you're interested in that. It looks like a really good program, and I had agreed that we'll throw a couple of drops of that in the next few episodes to let folks know that's on the horizon. So
Are you getting paid for that, Tim?
we are.
Okay, good.
Yeah. All right.
I want a piece of that action.
So, all right. Larry is not here. All
right, let's call up the chickens.
Let's let those chickens
and
out.
see what
in order to
happens.
Get us out. We'll see what happens.
I'd like to thank everybody. Special thanks to Effort Lodge number 665 for this camp out here.
Excuse me.
What? Oh yeah. And
Dutchy Doug.
cheap ripoff of the car guys. And
Click and Clack, the Tappet Brothers. And Leonard Post Toasties. And
oh, the hell with it. Carol, where are you? Bring us some ice.
all right. All right. This is Tim
Jack.
Tom.
Josh.
saying,
Bye, everybody.
Good night.
don't forget,
Have fun.
have fun and do good.
Do good.